And in the same time, Democrats are jumping up and down, cheering for an issue that they are losing on.
Tim Pool is torching these wall-hugging liberal Democrats, lighting a fire so hot, even their fake photo op smiles are starting to melt. He's calling them out for what they really are: phonies, performative, virtue signaling, degenerates.
And we got the report where his wife said he mercilessly beat her. Anyway, sorry. Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen went down there and he got his photo op. And I gotta tell you, it was a brilliant move for this single individual Democrat who is sacrificing the entirety of his party for a photo op. This is backfiring beautifully on the Democrats, as we're learning now that Kilmar Garcia is on some death camp torture prison. He looks fat and happy. And that's not a disrespectful thing to say. Fat and happy is a reference to he looking good. He's looking good. Here he is hanging out with the senator who's leaning in, putting his hand down, saying, "We're going to get you home," despite the fact Donald Trump already got him home. But here's the deal. While Democrats are lining up and singing the praises of Senator Chris Van Hollen for succeeding, they find themselves on the back end of an 80-20 issue. Once again, the American people overwhelmingly do not want illegal immigrants in this country, let alone MS-13 gang members, criminals, wife beaters, and this guy got deported. Now, I do think there is a fair concern over how we handle due process in these circumstances. J.D. Vance laid it out like, we got 20 million illegal immigrants, and due process is basically like you bring them in, a judge says yes or no, and we don't have the resources for jury trials in every single circumstance. Democrats are arguing this dude did not get proven, we've never proven he committed a crime. Let me just lay it out like this. We got these photos. We'll lay them up, show them all to you. But again, for the 800th time, he was here illegally. Democrats are lying. The judge said he was found with MS-13 gang members. He was hanging out with them. They identified him as one of their members. He was wearing gang clothes. Apparently, he had tattoos as well. An informant said his name is Chele and he is a Chiqueo, which means he's a probationary member. But here's the crazy thing. This morning on Fox, they brought in a DA who has prosecuted around 70 cases who said a Chiqueo isn't a full-fledged member, okay? He's basically an associate of the gang. You know, you're going to work with them in some capacity, but you are basically being lined up to join, which means you got to kill somebody. You got to kill somebody. That's how you get in the gang. By deporting this man who was a Chiqueo, Trump may have saved a life. We already know about the story of Patty Marin. She went on at the White House and she talked about this. Her daughter was brutally murdered. Trump may have saved a life in this regard. Now, by all means, you guys want to get upset over an administrative error. I know the libertarians upset. Let's have that conversation. But this guy was illegally in the country, admitted to being illegally in the country, was denied asylum, and his temporary withholding of deportation only relevant so long as the circumstances in the home country remain unchanged. El Salvador changed. Trump can deport him. The only mistake they made was an interview with USCIS to determine that the circumstances of his home country had changed, but we all know that it did. Okay, let's not have any administrative errors ever again. But here's the dude clearly meeting with Senator and ain't no problem. So he's not in a torture death camp, or he's not being tortured. He's got his baseball cap on. And in the same time, Democrats are jumping up and down, cheering for an issue that they are losing on.
You know we're living in bizarro world when American politicians are flying to El Salvador to shake hands with a gang member deported for violent crime. Like it's some kind of humanitarian mission. This isn't leadership, it's liberal lunacy on full display. Tim Pool nails it. Instead of celebrating a clear win for law and order, getting a violent gang affiliate off U.S. soil, these leftists are whining like someone broke their favorite toy. They treat it like a game while ignoring the real-world consequences. So buckle up, because logic is about to go to war with left-wing delusion.
But let's break this down. Senator Chris Van Hollen may have actually broke the law, and I believe he should be criminally charged. That's just me. You can't have Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro going to jail and Senator Chris Van Hollen violating the Logan Act, which has never really been, I think it's been used twice. Still, he admits it. He outright admits his intention was to violate the Logan Act. Take a look at this. On X, he says, I said my main goal of this trip was to meet with Kilmar. Tonight I had that chance. I have called his wife, Jennifer, to pass along his message of love. I look forward to providing a full update upon my return. Now, let me just, I've shown you this a million times, but here is his wife writing that he beats her and punches her. Bill Malugin, I mean, again, Democrats are behind this guy. I don't get it. Guys, did you know that there are still hostages being held by Hamas that are American citizens? Some people say, yeah, well, they're dual citizens. Okay, fine. They still have more claim to being saved by America than a gang member, illegal immigrant who beats his wife. Take a look at this. Abrego Garcia's wife in 2021 alleges he's a repeat wife beater. She said she's afraid to be close to them. Now, since then, she said that they've worked things out. Yeah, I don't know that I believe that. Battered wife syndrome, it's called. This woman's being threatened and beaten by a guy, and then he's an MS-13, or at least a probationary member, in which case they could do something to her. They could mess her up. So she just says, please, please don't hurt me and my kids. Now she's fundraised $200,000. Now she got a smile on her face. But look at this. In her own handwriting, she alleges Abrego Garcia punched and scratched her eye, leaving her bleeding. He punched her, hit her with a work boot, hit her in the eye, giving her a black eye. Here's the document right here, plain as day. She wrote this up in Maryland. This is who they're fighting for. Let's take a look at the things that Senator Chris Van Hollen has said about this. I do want to make sure I pull up the Nayib Bukele tweet first. He says, Kilmar Abrego Garcia miraculously risen from the death camps and torture, now sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in the tropical paradise of El Salvador. Take a look at this. Okay, I'm sure the argument is going to be that they pulled him out of the prison, gave him some nice clothes, and said, why don't you have this meeting? Let me show you this. This is what's really funny. Here's where the meeting backfires, all right? A couple ways. One, we can see he ain't in no death camp. And then you get this. Let me zoom in right here. Many people are pointing out he has what appears to be a weed, a marijuana leaf, a smiley face, a cross, and some other symbol on his fingers. There are many individuals, okay, that are saying that is MS-13 gang tattoos. Those on his hand, it's how MS-13 does their tattoos. Now, here's the thing. MS-13 has apparently been moving away from tattoos because they get you busted. And so these look a bit faded. I don't know their gang tattoos, but once again, people are saying there are some people who say, I believe it was the prosecutor was on Fox was saying they're moving away from those tattoos, but it could have been him. I'm not sure. It might have been Tom Homan, but someone was saying like, those are gang tattoos. Those are MS-13 gang tattoos. So it's like, here's a guy you just look at. He was arrested with MS-13. An informant said he was with MS-13. The gang, the gang information, unit or whatever is like, this guy's got gang tattoos and was wearing gang clothes. And here we go. Van Hollen takes these photos and now people are saying, yup, that's gang tattoos. It's you know what I think? I think Van Hollen didn't actually expect to get the meeting. I thought he was going to bluster it up. He got the meeting. The dude's okay. He appears to be, there's even more evidence now he's MS-13 or wants to be, like probationary. I think that's an important distinction. This prosecutor said Chikeo means he got to kill somebody to get full status, but he's an affiliate of the gang. Like he hangs out, he works with them. He was accused of human trafficking for them. But they called him 1 degree below homeboy. Homeboy is when you're like at the base level, you killed somebody, you're made, you know what I mean? Look at this. Chris Van Hollen says, Abrego Garcia was illegally abducted by the Trump administration. That's a lie. By their own admission, wrongly deported to El Salvador. He should have to spend another second away from his family. I'm flying to El Salvador tomorrow morning to check on his condition and discuss his return.
So, Senator Chris Van Hollen decides to prop up this gang-linked homeboy, Garcia, just to take a swing at Trump. What a move. If this is the left strategy heading into an election, it's political suicide. Most Americans aren't falling for it. Trump got the votes because people see through the charades. Tim Pool is absolutely on fire, tearing into this clown show and boxing out Van Hollen like it's Game 7. The left's obsession with turning criminals into martyrs is backfiring hard. Let's keep this fire rolling. The circus is in town and Tim's handing out red pills at the gate.
There's more. He says, Keep in mind what he just said. The Trump admin can lie all they want, but the court said they failed to show he was part of MS-13. Not correct. Not correct. 2 judges said he was MS-13. However, recently, there was a petition made by Abrego Garcia's lawyer, which made an argument the judge took at face value. The argument is not the judge's determination. And the Democrats are fucking lying. They're lying, man. They're saying, well, look, the judge said they only saw him wearing a Bulls hat, and therefore he's a member of MS-13. Not true. That's what his lawyer claimed to win an argument, and an activist judge rolled with it without checking the evidence. Because the other judges said he was arrested with MS-13. He's got MS-13 tattoos and clothing. He was identified as being an MS-13, literally hanging out with MS-13, okay? That's the evidence. And he's an illegal immigrant. He's an admitted illegal immigrant. He was denied asylum. Absolutely insane. Chris Van Hollen says, I just met with Vice President of El Salvador as we fight for the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Okay, this is a violation of the Logan Act, and he should get arrested and charged. The Logan Act says unauthorized individuals cannot conduct foreign policy on behalf of the United States, and senators can't do that. Donald Trump handles foreign policy. The executive branch does, and the people he authorizes are ambassadors or otherwise. He went down there in defiance. Now, look, if a senator or a member of Congress went and met with a world leader, we'd say, okay, whatever, right? What are they doing? He went down in direct countenance to the Trump foreign policy. Donald Trump says, here's what we're doing. He goes down. He defies U.S. foreign policy. That's a violation of the Logan Act.
So, homeboy Senator Chris Van Hollen hops on a plane to El Salvador to meet with an MS-13 gang member who was rightfully deported, and somehow Trump is the villain. The guy who actually enforced the law and probably saved lives by kicking this MS-13 gang member out of the country. This is treasonous clown behavior. They're out here treating gang members like they're Nelson Mandela while throwing law-abiding Americans under the bus. It's twisted. This is what happens when a party prioritizes criminals over public safety, when they prop up violent felons and expect the rest of us to play along with their delusion. If this sounds insane, it's because it is. Like this video, slap that subscribe button harder than California slaps taxes on its citizens, and drop a comment below. I want to hear what you think about this madness.